Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Mohammed. This is Heavy Metal FPL, and in this video we're going to go through 7 players and whether we should keep them or sell them. I'll start off with what I think is an easy one. Diaby plays as a midfielder in the game, but in real life he's actually an attacker. That's one good thing about him. Also, his next fixture is against Bournemouth away, which is pretty easy, but I think he has a lot of cons against him. So, one being that he was subbed off at halftime in Aston Villa's last match against Tottenham, and they looked much better without him on the field. Next thing is that his fixtures are going to be much harder after this next one. So, he's got Man City and then he's got Arsenal. And also, there are a lot of better picks than Diaby right now. So, Mbomo being the top one, I already did that move because I didn't have the money, but I only had just enough money to make that transfer. But basically, Diaby to Mbomo is a very, very good move. And I think if you have the chance to do that, you don't have Mbomo in your team yet, you should go for it. There's also Gordon and there's Saka if you don't have them. And there's also Cole Palmer for Chelsea or even Sterling. All of them look better than Diaby. If you really want to keep him for that easy fixture against Bournemouth, it's not a really bad shot, but just keep in mind there is potential for him to be rotated. Alvarez has been a bit frustrating lately. He's only gotten 1 assist in his last 4 games. And also, the goals from Man City seem to be coming from many different sources. One of them, obviously, being Holland. I think he takes up about 50% of Man City's goals. And you could say that the other 50% are split or is split amongst all the other players. So Alvarez is kind of sharing the goal scoring burden based on evidence that we have with all the other Man City players. So, and also in addition to that, you've got 2 attackers that are doing much better than Alvarez at the moment, and one very, very good prospect as well. So you've got Watkins, who's looking like a season keeper based on his form, and you've got Isak, who's just come back from injury and he's doing very, very well. He scored 2 goals in his last 2 matches, and you've also got Darwin Núñez from Liverpool, who also looks like a very, very good shout at this point, at least in better form than Alvarez in the Premier League. Look, the pros for Alvarez, though, are that he plays against Tottenham next. Tottenham with a makeshift center back pairing. They're still both going to be off in that match. So you're going to have Romero and Van de Ven both off. Alvarez is playing down the middle and he does bounce forward sometimes, gets into goal scoring positions. So you could expect he would have some in that game. I'd favor him and Holland to both get good scoring chances against Tottenham. And he just played before yesterday against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. He played for only 45 minutes. So if you had concerns about him not starting, I think that alleviates some of those concerns. And he also scored a goal in that game, showing that he hasn't lost his goal scoring touch, or if anything, he would get a boost of confidence from that goal. For me personally, I'm gonna keep Alvarez. I wouldn't hold it against you if you sell him, especially for one of those 3 picks who are looking better. But I would do it if it's the only problem in my team, and I wouldn't take a hit for it. And yeah, if you've got other problems in your team, I would prioritize that. Like, if you've got injured players or something like that, I would go for those. I wouldn't take a hit for selling Alvarez. For me, he is a keep for now. Trippier blanked in his last 2 games. In the last game against Chelsea, he only got 1 point because he got a yellow card in addition to losing his clean sheet. Now he's at 7.0 million, which makes this a bit more frustrating than it's supposed to be. But and also in addition to that, Lascelles scored a goal in that game. So you've got the cheaper defender in Newcastle doing better than him, which also adds to the frustration. But here's the thing. I think he was a bit unlucky. There was an error in Newcastle's defense that led to Trippier being in an uncomfortable position where he had to foul Sterling and he got a yellow card. And then as a result of the free kick from that play, Sterling scored a very nice goal. So if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be having this conversation whatsoever. I think Trippier was unlucky to not get a return in his last match. And I still don't think he's anywhere near being a concern for your team, at least not at this point. He's a definite keep for me. Martinelli has been a headache for a lot of FPL managers. He was brought in mainly by a lot of people when Madison was out injured right before the international break, and Arsenal had a game against Burnley where they were expected to score a lot of goals. They did score a lot of goals. They won 4-1, but all the goals came from unlikely sources. He ended up blanking in that game. Now we have him, and in the last game against Brentford, he was out wide and not being involved with a lot of their link-up play. So he's looking like a bad pick at this point. But Arsenal played just yesterday in the Champions League and they won 6-0. Martinelli came on the score sheet. He scored a goal and he also got an assist in that match. So if you ask the question, like, are Arsenal capable of dismantling teams and scoring a lot of goals? I still think they are capable of doing so. They have the ammunition to be able to do so, and Odegaard is back in the team now, meaning they could explode at some point. They've still got the really good fixtures favoring them. They've got Wolves at home next. They've got Luton away next. So two really good fixtures right there. Now, is he a concern? Obviously, he is a concern. But I think if you've got other concerns in your team, I would prioritize those. If he's the only one, I would move him on for someone like, Bomo, Gordon, any of the picks that I've mentioned earlier. But I'm personally gonna give him another chance in my team. I want to see how he does against Wolves. I'm hoping that Arsenal are more fluid in attack and they open that game up and score a lot of goals and that he is amongst them. For me, for right now, he is a keep. I'm gonna analyze this next week and I might just end up selling him if he remains as poor as he was in the past two. On the same team, Saka has been raising some eyebrows, and he's just a bit of a weird one now because Saka's underlying statistics, I'm not going to bore you with those, but his underlying statistics say that he shouldn't be getting anywhere near those returns that he's actually getting. So he's basically getting like a chance or two every game, but he makes the chances count and he's getting the assists. He's not doing anything explosive or amazing, but he's still ticking along nicely, which is kind of what you want in your FPL picks. That's all that matters in the end, that you get the points. That's what Saka is doing. He's got another easy fixture coming up. And look, Saka is a proven FPL asset. If he was just someone, who broke into the ranks recently, I would say maybe sell him. Maybe it just seems like a lucky one. But he has proven that he's Arsenal's main man a lot of times before. And right now he's getting the points. So if you have him in your team, definitely do not sell him. I'm not going out of my way to buy him just yet because I'm not that concerned about not having him in my team. And that could change though if he does explode at some point. But if you have him in your team, definitely keep him. Son is a very hard one. He has blanked in his last three fixtures, with the last one being especially frustrating as he got 3 goals against Aston Villa that were all chalked off for offside. He's also at 9.6 million, and a lot of managers are questioning why they have a player in their team that costs that much but isn't delivering. Now, the pros for Son are that he plays for Tottenham, and Postecoglou's tactics are not showing any signs of letting up in terms of their attacking play. So no matter what the odds are against them, they're always attacking. So you see, like when they have all those injuries, he's still brought on Lo Celso, and he's playing with an attacking way. And I still think they're gonna keep that up even against Man City, just the way that they're going. Their style of play is very attractive and it's a lot of fun watching them. And I think that even against a team like Man City, they're gonna attack. And I think that means that Son is gonna get on a lot of chances. He's still a very good finisher and there is potential for him to score. Now, I still get the frustration with him blanking this many times. So if you sell him, I'm not too against it, but it just depends on who you want to go for. I think if you don't have Salah in your team and you want to sell Son to go to Salah, I'd say definitely do it. I think Salah is an essential that you ought to have in your team. If you want to go for Saka, I think that's another story because I think that's a sideways move based on the evidence that we have currently. Now, if you want to go for someone like Mbomo, I don't think that's the right choice either, because I think you should find another route from your team rather than sparing like 3 million by going for someone like Mbomo. But for Salah, I would sell. For Saka, I would not. Last, we've got Solanke. So in Bournemouth's last match, they won 3-2 against Sheffield United, but he wasn't amongst any of the goals or the assists. Solanke's next fixture is against Aston Villa at home, and that's not necessarily the easiest one. I think his pros outweigh his cons though. First of all, I think the biggest plus for him is that he's almost guaranteed to start every match and he's guaranteed to play almost 90 minutes in each match. I think that's a big plus, especially as we approach December and the fixture pileup is starting to get worse and worse. You want to have a player in Solanke that plays a lot of minutes, especially when you compare him to like his alternatives, which are Isak, Watkins, and Alvarez. All those players play for European teams. They are more likely to be rotated and they're more likely to be fatigued and they're more likely to be injured. I think there's less of a likelihood for that for Solanke. He is also on penalties. Even though Bournemouth don't get a lot of penalties, it's still a good plus to have. Bournemouth's fixtures are still good in the short to medium term. They've got Aston Villa at home next, but they've got Crystal Palace away next, then Man United away, Luton at home, and Nottingham Forest away after that. And you have to remember why you got Solanke in, and that was for him to be a differential. I still think that's a good case for him. He's still a very good differential if you want to be different from Alvarez, Watkins, or Isak. So for me, Solanke is a definite keep. That wraps it up for this video, guys. If you want any tips, let me know in the comment box below. I'll be having one more video before the deadline, which will be on captaincy. But until then, I will see you all soon.